So I'm at the tree farm this morning. I'm going to replace some of the downed tree shelters. And on this one, it was the netting. Like you see, this one has horrible deer damage. It had a netting like that one over there, but the deer managed to knock it down, and then they rubbed their antlers on the bark of the tree. They don't want the big trees, they want to ruin the little ones. So I've already put in a new stake, and I'll put this tree shelter on in a minute. And then you can see off in the distance another tree shelter laying on the ground. I'll go fix that and some others. But that's what we're up against. We're up against deer damage. That's why these tree shelters are so effective. Every tree shelter that's still standing, the deer cannot get to them and ruin them. And that's so destructive in the first couple of years of the life of the tree. That's it for now. More later. And here's just a little bit more video showing the tree shelter is now back on. It'll protect the tree. Hopefully the tree won't die from that being girdled by the deer. But it's back on, and we are off to the next tree that needs our help. There you go. Here's a couple more trees we're gonna try to fix, salvage. So you see what the deer do. They can't help themselves, right? So here was a 5-foot tree. The mesh netting came off, and it was game on for the deer. Score the deer 1, tree 0. This one over here, netting and the stakes have seen better days, so we're going to replace the netting with a tree shelter. We've got some tree shelters here on the back of the tractor, so we'll put that on here and fix these, and hopefully they'll live to see. This one is still in good shape. They'll live to see a good day. And here we are after the tree shelters have been put in place, replacing the mesh netting that wasn't doing the job. I didn't bother videoing me putting them on. It's about 38 degrees out today. I have to do this with my gloves off. I'm sensitive, my fingers get sensitive to the cold, so I don't like to be out here too long. Here's this one, it's good to go. I cut off the top of the tree that the deer decided to destroy, as you can see here. I think you can see it. Anyway, hopefully it'll regrow in the spring, as it should. And we will continue finding more that need our help. This is going to be just a little bit more video to show you how much we love deer. So here was a net I'm going to replace with a tree shelter, but you can see what it did to probably a 6-foot growth. I'm not sure. Putting a shelter up, you know, I'll straighten it up and maybe it'll re-sprout from the same area, but that's why we love deer. And they got to put a shelter up over there, one there, and I'll take another close look at this one, for example, how it's just pummeled by the deer antlers. You can see they love rubbing their velvet off, don't they? And I'm sure one question people are going to have is, why did I put up mesh netting when these tree shelters work so much better? And the answer is, well, I already had the netting. I didn't have the tree shelters till later. And there's an old saying, buy once, cry once. In other words, if you can afford it, get what you want. If it's more expensive the first time, rather than having to do a job twice, like whether it's tree shelters or a building. Here you can see in the distance all my wax bags. But I built this barn as big as I thought I'd ever need, and of course it never is, right? But that's the story we're going to continue to work here. I may do a little videoing of actually putting up a shelter. I know I show it before and after. We'll do one here in a minute with the whole thing. It's a little warmer. It's about 40 degrees now. Okay, I said I'd show you the whole thing from start to finish. So what we got to do is take out the old stake, drive in a new stake, and I found where the old tree that I cut off is over here, so I put the stake on this side so I'm not running into the stump, and hopefully I won't hit a root. It's very difficult to drive the stake through, and I got lucky. Okay, we get the new stake in. Next we put up the new shelter. Take a look, see how tall it is. I'm going to have to prune a couple of branches because they're so stiff. And that should work. Like I said, this is a somewhat tedious process. It works. And these removable zip ties are so handy. So you just put them on, just get them started. We'll snug them down once we got everything the way we want it. So there's 5 of these zip ties for this 5-foot long, 5-foot high tree shelter. And again, I get these from a place called Tree Pro. They're in West Lafayette, Indiana. They have a website. I think it's called treepro.com. I'll put it in the link at the bottom. So there we pretty much got it on. Turned out I trimmed just the right amount of branches off. Those 2 were just right. And let me start getting it way over. Snug it down a little bit more, not all the way. These tree shelters they're durable, they're flexible, but they're also just a little bit stiff, especially in this cold weather. And there we got it the way we want it. Snug them all down. Top, they recommend bending over these. They've slotted the ends. Okay, so you bend them over that way the sharp edges don't hurt the tree growing, especially when it's coming up. There you have it. Tree shelter in place. Hopefully it'll last for a while and the deer we'll lose the next battle. And that's the name of that. That's how we do it.